All right. Welcome to the stream. I'm really excited to do this commentary reaction today from a filmmaking perspective. We're going to do a commentary on Transfer. And Transfer is the first, I believe it's the first short film directed by David Cronenberg. And yeah, David Cronenberg is, I'll say more about him after we watch the film, because I have a decent amount of thoughts on him. But yeah, so this is like kind of the first in this series that I'm doing for the Broken Bread channel. Really wanted to yeah, start putting out some stuff that you all can watch that would hopefully give you some insights into kind of the filmmaking perspective. So if you are a filmmaker yourself and you feel as though you want to learn from other filmmakers, then I want to be able to kind of offer some of that up. And if you're not a filmmaker and you're just kind of interested in this stuff, and you would potentially find it interesting to basically kind of sit next to a filmmaker while watching a film and kind of talking about the different aspects of what's going on in the film, then this hopefully could be a good environment for you to be in. So in the case of this particular watch along or reaction, we are going to be able to have the film up on screen with the audio coming through the video, and then we'll do some more in the future where it will just be my audio, and we'll sort of make it so that you can sync up the film, whatever film that we're watching, and watch along that way. So both ways I think will be cool. In the case of wanting to be friendly to the copyright, though, in the cases of films that are not copyright sort of protected under YouTube, then we can just watch them together with the full audio and the full video, like in the case of this. And then in the case of films that would be copyright protected, I'll just release my audio commentary track of the film, and then you can we'll show you how to sync it up. So those will be in the future. But I thought this would be a really fun place to start with a short film, and then maybe a little surprise afterwards, just for some fun. So if you already know what's coming, then hopefully you'll be excited. If not, that is cool too. So let's take a look and see if the film is just about to start. It looks as though, yep, it looks like they got it up on screen there in the theater. Transfer, written in a strange kind of painterly text, and then some weird sort of fingerprints and handprints. I'm liking that. So I'm going to look for my seat up in the balcony and see if I can find it. Well, it looks as though somebody's already in my seat, so excuse me. Looks as though you're in my seat. Gonna have to take you down. Sorry about that. So, hey everybody. If you don't know me, my name's Woody Fentress. I'm a filmmaker from Washington, D.C. originally, this Maryland area, and mainly live in Philadelphia now and in Virginia. And so I've directed 4 short films, and you can find various work that I've done and other projects on this channel. So if you want to check out some of those other things, please check that out. But yeah, I'm really excited for you to watch this with me today. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to taking the time out of your day to give 20 minutes or 30 minutes to this, because yeah, it really means a lot to me that you would give that time to this, and hopefully you get something out of it. Maybe it's just for fun, and maybe it's to learn something. But either way, I'm really grateful that you're here. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let me just, since this is my very first time doing this, let me just do one last double check that everything is working properly, and then we'll start. Yep, it appears that everything is working properly. That means we can put on our headphones here, and we can go ahead and fire this up. All right, let's do it. So this is Transfer, directed by David Cronenberg from 1996. I'm sorry, 1966. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize he was directing films that far back. He must have been pretty young. Yeah, to my knowledge, his earliest feature films were in the late 70s, so this is well before that. And one thing I do want to say about this is from the YouTube channel Famous First Films, so shout out to them. They put up, you know, as the name says, first films from now famous or successful or you know, well-to-do filmmakers. So check them out and watch other things, or if you want to watch this afterwards without my commentary. But let's go ahead and do this. This is my first time watching this. I'm excited to check it out. Start out with a little grape crush early in the morning. Oh, okay. Oh, God. Yeah, I love any moment, you know, first thing in a film that just immediately draws you in with something sort of strange. You know, seeing a character do something sort of bizarre that makes you just go like, I have to know what this person will do.
Me. Ralph. How did you find me? All the others gave up trying long ago. Love is a treacherous, nauseating, hurtful thing, Doctor. I do not give up such treasures casually. Thought I would be safe here, hundreds of miles from civilization.
Your other patients were, how can I say it without causing you pain, were weak, fickle, a brief panic, but then they've all found other analysts, Doctor.
I was a prince in my native land.
Doctor,
A prince! I was young, strong, precociously brilliant. I had magic rings on all my fingers. Libido, transference, polymorphous perverse, oral gratification, sublimation, anality.
Love is an egocentric thing, Doctor.
In my native land, I would have been a king someday. But no! Instead, I have been driven into exile to live like a solitary animal, a beast of the forest.
Love is destructive, Doctor. I never denied that my love for you was destructive, but I can't be sorry. Can you understand that?
Understand, always.
I love how the conversation is sort of continuing, but we're jumping around to different moments. You know, the doctor's wearing different outfits.
Sin. At least, there in my cathedral, my ark. There I am not forced to plow open the rotten logs of other people's minds.
Doctor, stop! How can you talk about it that way after all we've been through? When we were together, I was a sullen blue flower. You came to me, a dark butterfly, probing, gently probing.
Stop sniveling!
The camera doesn't know what it wants to do to find that actor.
Do you know what it means to have other minds dragging their dirty feet across your own mind? just after you waxed it and polished it and it's shiny and bright. An analyst has to dip his fingers into the murky, forbidding, scummy aquarium of the sick mind, Ralph. Psychoanalysis could be a miracle, if only it weren't for the sick mind. I had to get away.
Wretch! Self-pitying wretch! I'm coming to take you back, Doctor, and I will still refuse! I'll kill you first! Flash your teeth in the sun! I'll steal! Aha! My self-tortures become hollow, pathetically futile without you. How I anticipated our sessions together. I circle the Tuesdays on my calendar for the entire year. I took pills to put me to sleep, pills to wake me up, just so that I'd appear vibrant and fresh in your office at 3:15. So that I'd radiate disease, blossom before you like an aphid-stricken tulip, to enchant you, intrigue you. I tried to be a constant source of wonder and delight.
I don't know why this is so funny to me. These characters are so exaggerated and sort of
I don't know, Ralph. I don't know what to say.
stupid people,
never wanted to
Shakespeare or
get
something.
involved.
It's pretty brilliant.
Oh, I would be kind. I wouldn't hurt you any more than was necessary to make you hurt me. And what of your preoccupation with the inexorable passage of
Feel
time?
like my sunglasses look like that.
I'm still dreadfully afraid of growing old, Doctor.
In the id, you know,
I feel like
subconscious.
I gotta get my matching sunglasses. Alright, I can't find them. I just thought it was too perfect that my sunglasses looked exactly the same, but we'll move on. We'll carry on.
Time is a vast, dark, motionless pool.
To me, time is a hot, boiling, fiercely malevolent river, writhing, wild and untamed.
Wow, the symbolism.
They've all found other analysts, Doctor.
You could hear Cronenberg yelling cut at the end of that. That's great. They're just like, yeah, just keep it in. I like the hand drawn or hand painted credits cards that, you know, at the beginning we got the one with the let's go ahead and pause it there. With the let's back it up. Go back to that final shot because I just kind of digging this
Time is a hot
final shot here. I think this is a good place to kind of sit on because I like it. But yeah, I like those hand painted title card and credits. I thought that was a kind of a nice touch. And you know, both of those things in the beginning, I mentioned it at the top, but I love something that's sort of initially sort of strange or kind of unusual. You know, at the top of the film that makes you sort of lean in and want to explore, you know, these characters and kind of understand, you know, what their dynamic is. And, you know, with a feature film, obviously you're asking for a much bigger investment than you would be with, say like a short film like this. A short film is going to, only ask you in the case of this for basically 6 minutes of your time. But I think it works really well in a short film. I think in some sense, a short film is almost, I shouldn't say it is a bigger ask for an audience, but it's so easy to turn it off because, you're not paying for it. So, you don't have a financial investment in it. Chances are you're not, in the case of seeing most short films, you're not rushing to the theater to watch it. I do think there is something that is, especially in this day and age with a short film, it's cool to have something that's up front. This movie is from the 60s, but I think it is cool to have something at the top of a film that hopefully instantly gets the audience interested and instantly gets them sort of captivated by something unique. And I was talking about this with my friend Andy recently. What do we prefer? Do we prefer like a cold open, like jump into the action kind of opening in a film, or do we tend to prefer ones that are maybe more, like of a slow burn, slow build up? And, I think when I was having that conversation with him, a few months ago, I think it was making me think of so many modern films that just start off with an action sequence. You're jumping right into it, and how fun that can be, but how it just can also feel really tiresome because it's almost like a trick, in a sense. I guess you could probably argue that all elements of filmmaking are a trick, but there's this trick almost that starting out with an action sequence is kind of playing on you because it's making you say, you should care about this because something is happening. And I think if you really kind of pull back from it, and if you don't really know these characters, and you don't really know this world, and you don't really know these stakes, then it's like, well, why should you care? And so thinking now, in the context of watching, this film, it's almost kind of like, well, it makes me rethink. It's like, well, a film doesn't have to be an action sequence to like jump into something that kind of draws you in. And I think, this film is kind of, one of a billion testaments, to that, which is sometimes the thing that immediately kind of hooks you and makes you go, almost kind of knocks you over the head, is something very, bizarre and kind of unique. And I think in the case of this film, it's obviously, a person, I guess, starting their day by brushing their teeth with some grape crush, pouring it into a small glass, and then dipping their toothbrush in it. And I'm not failing to mention, I guess I am failing to mention it, but almost kind of intentionally, that they're also outside for all of this, almost treating all of these exteriors as though they're interiors, in sort of a funny way. But I think, that's almost too obvious for the context of everything that's kind of happening, with this film. But I think, the couple obvious things that come to mind for me with this is it's great to see how far a filmmaker can come. I think, as a filmmaker myself, it's sometimes, hard to look at the brilliant filmmakers that I look up to, like David Cronenberg, and say, man, he never made, never directed, never wrote anything terrible. You know, it was all well thought out, kind of brilliant gold from the get-go. And then remembering, it's like, well, no, he had to start somewhere too. He had to, you know, get a couple people together, and apparently drag them out to a snowy field, probably somewhere, in Canada, not far from where he's from, and shoot this film and edit it down to 6.5 minutes. But you damn well better believe that this thing took them all day or multiple days, to film. And I think that's just it's a nice reminder of, you know, what it takes to really, to start doing this is to get the friends together, to get a couple people together, a couple friends together, a couple of friends of friends, family members, whoever's willing to help, and hopefully not spend any money. I mean, they were in an unfortunate circumstance back in the 60s versus now, where they did have to spend some money to get film, and then, you know, process that film and get the film back. Like, all of those things had costs associated with it. Whereas now, you know, it does cost money to get a phone that has a camera in it. But, in the case of most people, they are, that's an expense they've already made. You know, they already have done that. Let me take a quick, just 1 minute break, make sure everything is running properly. The stream is not completely shut down and exploded. And then we'll just pick back up with that conversation, because I want to talk a little bit more about my relationship with David Cronenberg, as a filmmaker. All right. Okay, everything's still good. All right. So, so yeah, I mean, those are a lot of the first kind of things that come to mind, you know, things that I'll say, before I jump into, sort of David Cronenberg specifically. But, you know, sort of, let's watch the film. We can have the film play again, just with the sound off. So let's go ahead and do that, while we're talking. But, yeah, so there's a lot of things that I really loved about this film. You know, there's the characters are very strange. The dialogue is very, very strange. You know, that'll be probably no surprise to you, if you know me personally, or if you've watched, any of my films or know my work. It generally tends to be strange, and I just love it. So yeah, the characters are sort of strange and unique, and the setting, not again necessarily the fact that they're in a snowy field, but almost that they're in a snowy field that apparently has like different sections to it that they kind of go to. You know, it just clearly has the sort of playfulness and silliness of a young person's, work. And I think, that, Cronenberg has kept a certain amount of silliness throughout his work, just a little bit, but, his work has also become very serious in a lot of ways. But I think he always tries to find at least one or two moments of sort of lightheartedness in his films. But yeah, I do really like this film. I think it's very strange, and I think it's very intense. The characters are very intense about all the things they're sort of talking about. And it has this sort of rising intensity that then sort of crashes down, and then it almost, then they're kind of back together in this patient-doctor, kind of relationship. And I almost kind of feel as though, it's just like starting all over again. They're gonna, the next, if the film went another 6.5 minutes after this, they would have their relationship as doctor and patient. It would become more and more, crazed, and then they would split apart again, and then the doctor would go somewhere else, and then the patient would find him again, and it would start all over. So it's almost like, this film in a heads and tails coin is one of those sides, and then there's another side that's kind of invisible that we don't see, and that, sort of where it starts back all over, it starts all over again, as right back from square one. I'm almost imagining, the doctor is now in a jungle or something, and the patient is finding them there. So yeah, I really love that. I mean, the fact of him pointing at the old battered kind of barn and saying my cathedral, I love that. It's, the silliness of I'm going to kill you, and he pulls out this little knife, and he's instantly, he doesn't even really strike him. He just almost kind of barely taps him to get the knife out of his hand. But yeah, it's just all these moments like this where they're not talking to each other, and, there's the moment of the doctor speaking directly to camera. There's just all these really strange kind of filmmaking choices that I think kind of draw you in an interesting way. It makes you want to stop and wonder, like, were these intentional, or they just didn't know what the hell to do or how to film a scene like this? But, after you start watching so much film and television over the years, you start to realize, especially in, more commonplace stuff, that they film every scene sort of exactly the same way. So to watch something like this where so many of the choices are just like, why is the camera set up like that? Why can't we see the other character? These choices are very, very funny. A lot of it feels like for the reason that they only had this really long zoom lens, and they kind of just had to use it in all the shots. And so they didn't really know exactly how they were going to set these shots up. But it does look like they can get fairly wide with these angles. So I guess they could have shot some wider angle shots, but, that comes from being amateur filmmakers as well, is it taking a long time to learn different lenses and focal lengths and how that, sets up, different shots and stuff like that. So, or, how that would make for different shots, or what kind of shots that would allow or not allow for. So yeah, that was Transferred, directed by David Cronenberg from 1966. Again, this is from Famous First Films on YouTube. Famous First Films. So check out their channel. Before we, I did say I wanted to talk about David Cronenberg for a second before I jump into that. I do want to say, if you are liking this stream or this video, please go down below and click the like button on this video. Where would it be? It would probably be down there somewhere. So click the like button to say that you like it, and then if you want to see kind of more stuff like this, or follow our films that as they come out in our other projects, then click the subscribe button as well, the big red subscribe button, and then a little bell icon will pop up, and then click on that and say notify me every time. And basically what that'll do is every time we're going to go live to do some sort of thing on this channel, or we release a new film or a new television related project or whatever it is, you'll get notified of it, and so you can watch it and be involved. And so so do that, and then scroll all the way down and go to the comment section and tell me what you thought about this film. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or hear what you thought about my thoughts, because I would love to hear that feedback. So yeah, appreciate that. The like, the subscribing, clicking the notification bell, and leaving that comment is really appreciated, and it helps the channel. And it doesn't cost anything to you, but it makes our day. So thanks so much. So I want to talk about Cronenberg for a second. David Cronenberg was introduced to me probably about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more, by some folks that, a friend of mine, Chris, that worked at Video Americain. Shout out to Chris, if you ever see this, bud. And some other folks, I knew some other folks who worked there, Jason and Ari and, Emily, who worked there, and Leah. So shout out to all those folks. Anybody I'm forgetting. It was a place that I would go a lot, and I would go in, and I would, sometimes I would hang out there for hours and hours, and, they had a couch in there. They'd play movies in there. And they all were just amazing and always took care of me, and I would walk around and pick out certain movies, and they would let me rent a lot of movies for free. It was a video store. I don't know if I said that or not. But I think I had maybe seen one or two David Cronenberg things, but had never really had this deeper connection to him, or his work. And then I think I maybe saw one or two things. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's got some cool stuff. And then I was kind of on this kick. One of the coolest things about Video Americain is as a store, as they had what they called the director's wall. So the store was, in this row of stores on the main street in Tacoma Park, Maryland. And, it was this long store. You walk in, it's probably only about 20, 25 feet wide, but it just went like all the way back. And so the entire right-hand wall all the way down was what they called the director's wall. And it was in alphabetical order, notable directors. So you had, Altman, and then you had all these other directors whose names start with A. You get into J, and you'd get Jackson, Peter Jackson. You get into S, and you get Scorsese, and all the films that they directed. So, sometimes they would sneak other things in there that person had been a part of, produced, or something like that. And so, oftentimes I would be interested in seeing, okay, what are their earlier films? And, because I was, sort of a hyper music snob at that time, it was always like, well, you got to listen to the first albums first before you listen to the new stuff. So I kind of felt maybe like you have to do the same thing with a filmmaker, or, director or writer or whatever. You have to, watch their earlier stuff. And so Cronenberg, I think maybe it's making me think of like John Carpenter, maybe the fact that they were so close together on the director's wall and shared some similar themes in some of their work, and, crazy sort of gory effects and practical effects, the practical effects in The Thing, in John Carpenter's The Thing are obviously legendary at this point. And so, and then in Cronenberg's work, tons of practical effects in, is it Body Double? No, not Body Double. I can never remember the name of that movie. Dead Ringers was the one I was trying to think of, and Naked Lunch has a bunch of really, really crazy, amazing practical effects. But basically I had, some friends who worked there who would kind of guide me towards different films to see, and I remember Slither, I believe, is Cronenberg's first feature film. It was like mostly funded by the Canadian government, and that was a film that I believe they had it on VHS, because I don't even think that it was, I don't even think it was out on DVD. I don't even think that there was a DVD version that existed. So I think I got the VHS, and it maybe had some like behind the scenes stuff, like after the film there had some behind the scenes, and I found that to be very kind of cool and interesting. And The Brood was another one. The Brood might have been before Slither. It was like it was either Slither and then Brood or whatever. And there might have even been a feature film before that, because now that I come to think of it, at the time of recording this, David Cronenberg's most recent film, Crimes of the Future, I believe is named after one of his really old feature films called Crimes of the Future. That's a totally different story and concept, but that might be a feature film, and even before those other ones. So I don't really know for sure, but we're getting into the weeds on timelines. But all that's to say that it was during that time that I got more into Cronenberg, and Cronenberg was some of his biggest films that he directed, like Videodrome and Naked Lunch, I believe both got Criterion Collection versions, and so those were ones where I was like, oh well, I got to see those. And I remember after watching a bunch and watching whatever the one with Christopher Walken is, The Dead Zone, maybe? Is that what it's called? Which I think is based on a Stephen King novel. I remember really liking that a lot and thinking that was really well done, and really enjoying it, and felt like it had just taken what I could have only assumed was this much bigger concept and shrinking it down into this very tight, well done story. And Christopher Walken's great in that, and the direction is really well done, and it's got some amazing effects in it. And I just remember these rooms being on fire and people being inside there, and these kind of dream sequences and stuff. So then, wanting to see sort of the bigger films like Scanners and Videodrome, and not really being that blown away by them, kind of not really being that excited by those pieces of work, and just kind of going like, why are these the most sort of famous? And at the time, just thinking like, who cares? Which I sort of hate to say, but I was very happy that I ended up sticking with Cronenberg, because I think there had been enough other stuff at the time of watching his films around, the sort of mid 2000s, where I was getting drawn in there. Though there were some duds to me, there were enough others that were really exciting. There was The Fly, for example, which is obviously one of his most famous films, which is, going back to talking about John Carpenter's The Thing. I believe The Fly is based on a really old, kind of 50s black and white horror film, much as The Thing is The Thing That Came from Outer Space, I believe is that original film. And, And so, yeah, I was like, wow, the Fly is really good. It very much like the Dead Zone is like very big concept, but condensed very well into a tight film. And so, yeah, that was one that I remember really, really enjoying, quite a bit. And then I don't think I watched it at home. I believe they showed Naked Lunch at the American Film Institute in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I went to see that on the big screen and was absolutely fucking blown away by that movie. It's so, like, Roy Scheider in it is unbelievably phenomenal. He just 1000% commits to this, completely bananas movie, and is taking it deadly serious, the entire time, which I just love and appreciate. And then just, and there were enough other ones. And then it was at that time also that I think I was going, to my mom and my stepdad's house once every week or once every couple weeks, and we would do like a movie night together. And, I think I took one movie, we watched it, one that I thought we would all sort of enjoy. And then the next day I was going to watch Dead Ringers, which is the David Cronenberg, film, I think from the 90s, with Jeremy Irons playing the twins and, twin gynecologists, I believe, and, or gynecological surgeons or something. And, yeah, I think I ended up watching it with my stepdad, and he was just like, yeah, what did you think of that? And I was like, oh, I absolutely loved it. I thought that was fucking amazing, phenomenal movie. And he was like, yeah, not for me. He wasn't a fan. And I could definitely understand the movie's very intense and very, very, very intense. And so, yeah, just having lots of little relationships to Cronenberg come back over the years. And then, my same friend Chris, we went and saw, A History of Violence in the theaters. And, I didn't end up seeing many of his films in theaters after that. I ended up seeing whatever the Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung film is. I can't remember. Dangerous Method or something. And I thought that was okay. I thought that was fairly well done. But, not super exciting and challenging of a film. But so that's my relationship really with David Cronenberg's work. And there haven't really been that many movies since that era of the sort of mid 2000s, or, 2000, the 2010s basically, that I've really been that drawn to. And Crimes of the Future would probably be one of the ones more recently that I was more excited about potentially checking out. But living where I am currently, it wasn't a film that was going to really be showing, around me, down here. So haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but it looks very much like it is in that, Dead Ringers, kind of vein of just, intense body horror kind of stuff, that people say David Cronenberg is sort of famous for, but, when you really go back through all of his films, such as we kind of just did, you realize there is a decent amount of that, but then there's also a decent amount of, just straight up, I think, kind of psychological horror. But I think he's a fantastic, filmmaker. I definitely recommend, checking out some of his stuff. I highly recommend, if you're interested in, very unique, bizarre films, I can highly recommend, The Dead Zone, Dead Ringers, as I mentioned, Naked Lunch, I think Spider is worth watching because it's a sort of unique one. And The Fly for sure. And, I mean, Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis both in that movie are fucking phenomenal. And, when is Goldblum not phenomenal? Even in lesser films, I think he does a great job. So yeah, those are some that come to mind, I'm sure. Oh, and Slither, I think I mentioned earlier, I think is a really great movie, is a very tiny budget, small sort of horror thriller, but does a lot with a little, and is, if you don't mind a very low budget, kind of on that budget level of like, the original Night of the Living Dead, George Romero. If you don't mind a movie of that budget and that feel, then I definitely recommend, Slither. And again, I think that's the name of it. It could be called Shivers. now that I'm thinking about it, it might be called Shivers, but, yeah, just look into his filmography and it's either Shivers or Slither. Slither might be the like James Gunn movie that came out in like the early 2000s. Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah. So those are the ones that I recommend, and yeah, those are ones to definitely check out. So thanks so much for tuning in for this part of the stream. Now we're gonna move on to the final little segment that I think will be fun. So this will be something that I'll do with these future, kind of commentary tracks, when we do these again down the road. And basically I thought it would be fun to, find games that have some sort of, commonality in terms of content or theme or something with the film that we just watched. So, in the case of this, I have found, one very, very loosely connected game, as tiny and a minuscule connection as you could possibly imagine. And we'll play that for just a little bit, and then we'll, end things for today. So, we'll, shut things down here at the theater, Broken Bread, our nice purple movie theater that you can see all around us. It's a little dilapidated, as you can see. Some pieces are kind of falling off the wall there. Sorry about that. We haven't gotten a chance to fix that up yet, but so we'll shut things down here at the theater, and we'll pick back up over on the game side. So see you there. All right. So today we are going to be using our friend the Coin Ops to find the game that we want to play. So if you're not familiar with Coin Ops, it is a hold on one second to make sure this is not too loud for you. No, it's not too bad. Coin Ops is a piece of software that is developed by a seemingly all volunteer team of developers, and basically they take all these different emulators from all these different systems, whether they're arcade or Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis or Nintendo 64. In the case of this, PC Engine, Neo Geo CD, and they build this really kind of elaborate and well-constructed front end that helps you to keep track of and manage all of your game backups. So yeah, in the case of this, this is what we're going to be using to play some games today, and it seems to be capturing properly, so that is good. So the game we're going to play today, as we are going to go on down to, we're going to scroll through past Amiga, past Atari Lynx, past Game & Watch, all the way straight to the Nintendo 64. And we are going to scroll over, and we are going to go to the S's, and we are going to find Snowboard Kids. That's right. I told you that today we would be finding the loosest, absolutely tiniest little bit of connection between the film that we watched and the game today, because we are going to play a game that is snow themed. So obviously the film had a strange snowy setting, and so I thought it'd be fun to play this. And oh gosh, that's gonna be loud. Turn that down. Make sure that doesn't get too loud for you. There we go. So so yeah, basically, we can also say that the connection will be the fact that they are kids. The people who, when they were making that movie, were probably basically kids. David Cronenberg was probably a child when he made that movie. So there you go. Kids in the snow. So yeah, this is Snowboard Kids. I've never played this game. I'm excited to check it out. It looks cool. It's I think it's like a very number of players. Okay. 1 player. Check complete. Start a game. Start a game. Okay. Is this okay? Yep. Select a character. Ooh, Jam's cool. Linda. Tommy. Tommy likes to keep a hamburger in his pocket. Very wimpy-esque. Flash, Nancy. I mean, Jam is my jam. Let's go with it. Yeah, I think this is, to my knowledge, is very kind of like simplified sort of snowboarding game, whereas like, you know, 1080 snowboarding or SSX will be very complex. This is a little bit simpler, kind of like snowboarding racing game. And we'll start off with Rookie Mountain. Let's see how it goes. And like I said, I've never played this before, so I'm very excited to try it out. Freestyle. Oh, I see. These are the different boards. Fast but hard to control. Balance. Slow but easy to control. Let's go for the all around. I like that. All around. You gotta love an old game with goofy voice samples.
Ready?
Almost like they're just like, well, we have voice samples, we might as well use them. Oh gosh. Alright, is there a button we use to kind of hunker down is the question. Okay, so there looks to be... Oh, what? Somebody dropped a basket on my head. So it looks to be like power-ups of some kind here. Okay, I got one. A little ghost. I don't know what it does. Yeah, so the controls feel fairly simplified. Oh, couldn't get that one. Oh, we gotta get on the lift? Oh, that's interesting. Get in there. I would never have expected that that was going to be the case. Alright, let's see. Got another power up. Okay, a little basket. Hey, get a basket on your head, Linda. All right, I'm catching up a little bit. I'm in 3rd out of 4. Hey. Oh, I might have got all of them. See if I can be the first in the lift. Yeah, let's go. That's great. The music's fun. Got a good upbeat vibe. A little less serious than the movie we watched. Oh, invisible snowboard. Or invisible snowboarder, I should say. Put a rock right here in front of the power-up so they can't get it. Oh, I see. So you do 3 laps on the same... Yeah. Sweet. Oh, no! On the same, Alright, at least got in 3rd. Oh wow, there's 5 laps. So you do the same loop. Okay, so the lift takes you back to the top and then you're doing the same loop again. Okay, that's interesting. I do not know what this power-up does. Oh! I cannot hit anybody with it. Oh, basket! No! Ah! Alright, that was lap 4? I don't really know. Okay, so this is the final lap. So I figured out how to use these other power-ups. Alright, got one person there. No, let me turn. Let me get him. No, okay. So we got 3rd out of 4. Not too bad. Still kind of figuring out the controls, but yeah, so that was fun. So let's go ahead and call it there for the day. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream. As I mentioned, I'm going to do some more of these in the future. I'm going to do ones like this where you can watch the film along and actually, the film and the audio of the film and our commentary will be up as part of the video. And then we'll do ones in the future that will be just the commentary track, and then we will show you how to sort of sync it up with the film. So we'll be watching the film and doing a commentary and a sort of reaction to it, watch along. But then, you will be able to watch the film at home. And so we're going to try to do it so that they're films that are on platforms that are pretty easy to get access to, even films that are, right here on YouTube, under the free section or something like that. So yeah, this is the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you giving this hour or hour and a half or whatever it is to this video. So I would do really appreciate it. And if you liked the video and you liked spending your time here, please give the video a like by hitting the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you can know every single time that we're going to do another live video, and when you know when we put out new films and stuff like that. And then, as I mentioned, scroll down to the comments section and tell me your favorite David Cronenberg films. Tell me what you thought of the film that we watched today, Transfer, directed by David Cronenberg. And in the case of Snowboard Kids, tell me your favorite N64 game. If you're an N64 fan, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the system. It feels like people are coming more and more and more out of the woodwork these days with very unique N64 favorite games. It's, you know, for the longest time it was like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's the only, you know, best game, or maybe Mario 64. But as more and more time has gone on, you know, people are coming out of the woodworks with some really unique and kind of bizarre favorite N64 games. And I've even got some new N64 games for my collection recently. One that I can recommend recently is called Scars, S-C-A-R-S, with periods after each one. And it's like a battle car racing game, sort of like Mario Kart, or like this game we just played. Is very fun, fast-paced, crazy, and the very first time I played it, I was just like, man, this game's fucking awesome. I love it. So yeah, tell me your favorite N64 game if you have a different one, that especially if it's one that you think that nobody else shares. So thank you again so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and we will catch you on the next one.